Why are Americans obsessed with Europe? I guess I don't really have any room to talk at all because I am pretty obsessed with Europe. You guys think that it's just when I watch this stuff that I'm like, this is my moment that I indulge in European culture and information? No, it's literally all day long. I watch European news, I talk about it to all my friends. It's kind of crazy. So we're going to check out Wolters World. Absolutely love Wolters World. One of the best channels out there. And his video on why Americans are obsessed with Europe. Let's see what we're getting ourselves into. Smash the like button. Let's dive in.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're in Florence, Italy. And today we're going to talk about are some of the things that Americans just fawn over when they talk about visiting Europe. Because I'm an American, and I come here a lot, and I love coming here. And I love to talk about all the things I love about it. And when I meet Americans all over, a lot of common things come up in terms they love. And yes, I could talk about the obvious ones, you know, the architecture, the art, the history, the people, the cobblestones. Yeah, those things are easy. But I want to talk about the things that Americans really go, oh my gosh, did you see that? Oh my God.
I love that he's doing this because that's what like most average Americans think of when they think of Europe is like architecture, all that good stuff that he just said. Like that's the immediate thing. And then I'm learning, even as I'm starting to plan my trip, I'm like, yeah, I want to go see, I want to see the Eiffel Tower, but I also want to go to like some village that's like an hour and a half away from Paris and go there and go like meet the people and see the things over in that area where it's less touristy. So let's see what he's got to say.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. I mean, it really could even start with something as simple as the money. Like Americans will be like, wow,
the
it's
money,
like they've got
yes.
Monopoly money. Look how colorful it is. Look at all the different varieties. Their coins are actually worth something. I mean,
you know what? I wonder where the board game Monopoly came from. Is that an English board game? Because is that why the money is colored? I'm kind of curious really quick. We're taking a detour. Hold on. Okay, I was wrong. Monopoly was invented in Germantown, Pennsylvania by Charles B. Darrow. Can we get a date though? Is it like early 1900s? Let's see. All right. I was maybe wondering if that was why some of the money is colored, because I was like, maybe it was invented in like England or something. But all right, let's keep going.
it's funny how sometimes just the thought of different money really like sparks the excitement of travelers. Americans are from other places. But that's the thing, is that's what got me thinking about this topic, because there were some Americans that just passed by and they're really like so excited by the coins they had because they never saw them before. And that's one of those things, you just kind of think about the...
It is really cool. I remember going to Mexico as a kid and I would collect the pesos, the little peso coins, because I was just so enamored by
little
them.
Things that really make a big impact on you. And I think one of the things that people mention time and time again about why they love coming to Europe is the food. But not just the food, but how much better the food is here. Like, people be like, oh, you know, I thought my Oma made really good spätzle, but she's got nothing on what I had in Munich. Or, oh, my Nonna, sure, her lasagna was fantastic, but it has nothing on this lasagna I had here. I'm sorry, Nonna. And you'll see people just like fall in love with the food and be so impressed, which is how fresh it is, how like healthy it is, and how few ingredients it is. It's like, wait, why is it when I get food in America, the ingredient list is this long, and here it's like this long, you know? And that's one of the things they kind of mention, but they do love about it. Another thing they mention they love is all the pedestrian street, all the walking people do. And I know we Americans aren't the biggest walkers out there. We like to drive everywhere. Like, I would drive to the other side of the street just because I would drive to the other side of the street. Here, they walk everywhere. And so people are like, oh man, they're walking everywhere every day. I'm getting like 20,000 steps. Now I understand why they're so fit and trim and good looking. Yeah, it does help when they walk that much. But it's funny how Americans really talk about the pedestrians, but also the pedestrian streets, like the pedestrian shopping streets. Like, oh yeah, we're walking everywhere with everybody. And it just like...
Yeah, this is so cool. I'm trying to think of anywhere that I've ever been where you can walk down an actual street that there's no cars on and you have to walk on the sidewalk. In the middle of like a major city, maybe. I know I've been on something like this before, usually by the beach, maybe like where there's like beach stores and the streets are for walking, but you do not see this, rarely ever.
Blows Americans' minds that you can have more than like a mall. No, you can have an outdoors, multiple streets of open stuff with shops and restaurants and cafes, and everybody's living there. And that's another thing that Americans just love, is the shopping. And I know when people talk about America, they're like, oh, the US, they're like, oh, consumerist, and all that you care about is shopping and buying stuff. But the thing is, in the US, the only place I really get to shop is like Target and Walmart, because all the stores are gone. All we have are big box stores. We're in.
Yeah, I don't know how it is for you guys. Are you guys well, obviously not. I think he did this video fairly recently. So we used to have malls, but they all died off and they're gone now, which is where you used to be able to go into a store. But with Amazon and all the online shopping, it's pretty much gone now. We have a couple, like in our local city, we have some small little shops that we go into and we try and buy stuff from there, but nothing like this.
Europe, you go around and there's literally dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of stores on those pedestrian streets, and they're not just like cruddy stores. They're nice stores, from anywhere from fancy lingerie to nice clothes to fun toys. They have all kinds of stuff here. It's just so cool to see all the really nice shopping, and it's so funny because the people are actually shopping there too. And what also impresses people is the service they get at those stores. The people are super knowledgeable. When you go to the US, you go to a store and you're like, hey, do you have this size? I don't know, was it on the rack? Oh, hey, what would go well with this with this dish? I don't know, beer maybe? Whereas here, people are like, oh, well, yes, I'll go back in the back and check and see. Oh, actually, with your skin tone, you might want to try this instead. Oh, with that meat, I'd recommend this Chianti because it's a bit bolder.
I would love this so much. I went into my my butcher the other day and was kind of just poking around and was like, do you have any tri-tip? He was like, no, not right now. And then just kind of like stops, and that was it. I was like, do you want to recommend like a different cut of meat or something else? Like, you got any specials, anything?
Pride people have in their work here is a lot different in the US, and you see that in the service. Even though Americans will complain that, oh, the service wasn't as good in Europe. Well, no, because they don't do tipping here, so they're not trying to kiss your butt to make money off commissions. They're just doing their job.
Yeah.
But the job they do, they're going to do for their life, so they have pride in it and they're knowledgeable about it. And that's one thing that Americans love about coming to Europe, is when they get that kind of service of actually having people that know what they're doing and care about it. And another thing people talk about how much they love coming to Europe is the public transportation. Now, if you take public transportation to the US, sometimes it's not always the safest mode of transportation to get around. Or it's a mode of transportation that doesn't really take you anywhere you actually want to go. Whereas in Europe, the public transportation takes me everywhere, from the airport to the train station, to around the country, to my Airbnb, to my hotel, to every site. You have that, and Americans just love that because we literally don't have it. And so to experience it's something really kind of nice to use. And so Americans are like, oh, and I took the bus every day. Like, good job. And the thing that's funny is
you guys probably say this all the time when I'm like, I'm so excited to ride the train. You're like, big deal, Jacob. It's a train. We ride it every day. No, it really is exciting. I think you guys have like the best public transport system in the world, probably. Maybe Asia. I don't know what Asia's looks like though. And maybe Japan. Japan might have a pretty good public transport, I would imagine. I have no idea. Your guys' is very impressive though.
A thing that Europeans fawn over about America is when they see the yellow school buses in the US, they're like, oh, yellow school bus, is that real? Did you really take that? Yeah, I took the yellow school bus every day to school. My kid does it too. When we have friends that visit us from out of the country, we try to arrange so they can go to school with Liam or Caleb, and they're like, could we take the bus? I'm like, Caleb drives to school. Could I take the bus? All right, you can take the bus, because it's one of those things. Transportation is different in different places, right? Now, a fun thing where I really see, and one of those things that really is why I love doing these videos, is helping people find the stuff they've always wanted to do when they travel. And I think the best way to summarize it is this: I can't believe I'm drinking French champagne in Paris. When people get to have their dream, you know, when you're having champagne in Paris, or I'm having a Fiorentina steak in Florence, or I'm drinking beer at Oktoberfest. Oh my God, we're here, we're doing it. And that's one of those things, those stereotypical things that people do when they travel, when they actually experience in that country. We Americans, we go crazy for it, and it's so wonderful. And that's one of the things I love about doing Wolters World, that I help people see that and do that and go and have their...
I'm going to be honest though, I feel like a lot of people not to pause the video too much, but I feel like a lot of people nowadays really want to go do that stuff more just for photos and like, you know, their social media. They just want to put a picture up that they had pasta in Italy or whatever, you know, champagne in Paris. I think that is more prevalent nowadays than people who actually like to enjoy it. I'm horrible. I don't take pictures anywhere I go, so I'm really nervous about my
champagne in Paris. It's a bit rhetorical because it's champagne. They're going to be from France, but I won't go there. It's just one of those things you just love, and you see that happiness in them, right? And going along with that, I gotta tell you, one thing that always, like, when I hear it the first time, every time I get to a country, it makes me happy, is when the locals do that thing. And if you're not sure what that thing is, it's like when you're in France, you're walking down the street, and a lady goes, ooh la la, and you're like, oh, they said it! Or here in Italy, you hear someone go, mamma mia, like, oh, they said Mamma Mia. Or the Germans go Prost, and they do the big cheers with the big mugs of beer. You're like, I saw it. Or the Swedes dancing around in the circle and the maypole kind of stuff. I mean, you see that like, wow, I just thought that was IKEA.
Yeah.
No, they do that at May Day all over the country. And you see that, and people just like, when you see the culture be the culture that you've heard of, it really makes you fall in love with traveling again. And that's why Americans love that when they come here. And another thing is, if you are here and you're having your beer, you're having your wine, when you're here, your Chianti. I'm having Chianti and fava beans. Yes, the beans here actually in Florence are actually really good, by the way. And the Chianti is as well. I haven't had the other stuff that guy had, so I'm not going to go there. But if you think about it, like the wine, the drinks, also Americans love the fact that you can have wine or beer at lunch and no one bats an eye. Like, I worked here for a number of years, like over a decade. I worked in Europe, and like one of the places I worked, literally every meal when we have lunch at work, they'd have a bottle of white and a bottle of red just sitting at the table. You didn't have to drink it, but it was there for if you wanted. And that not having to worry about Karens giving you that side eye for having wine at lunch, we love that when we come here. Now, another thing that my university...
That must be really nice. I don't know. Also, do you guys eat alone? Do you guys ever go to restaurants alone? My wife always makes fun of me, like, when I'm out running errands, because I don't like fast food, so, and I don't want to come home and cook. So I'll like stop in at a restaurant and sit down. She's like, you just went and ate by yourself? I'm like, yeah, I had a beer too.
These students have mentioned to me multiple times when I've brought them here to Europe, like literally every single time I've come here with them, they've all mentioned at least one time how good looking the police officers are. Now, when you think of police in the U.S., I mean, there's a lot of really good looking, police officers there, men and women, both. I mean, there's a lot of good ones there, in shape, all kinds of stuff. But the stereotype of a American cop is, Wiggum, Officer Wiggum, Chief Wiggum on The Simpsons eating a donut. Whereas here, it's like they're all like, do you double as an underwear model, dude? Because you're in like really good shape. Like, it doesn't matter if you're in Spain.
I think this is true. We did our, when we did like police street cam videos, I saw a couple of police officers, especially in, I think it was Germany, and I was like, dang, dude, holy cow, that guy is freaking ripped.
Portugal, Italy, wherever. And it's not just the guy ones that look like supermodels, the women as well. I mean, there's good-looking cops here. No offense to my American cops. You're all cool
good-looking
dudes and
cops.
dudettes, but you'll understand when you come here. Maybe it's just the cut. They do a better job of making their police officers look sexy here. So don't worry, sexy plot cops in the U.S. too, okay? Don't be mad at me. I'm just saying. I'm just telling you what my students told me to tell you. Now, another thing I think Americans mention a lot about things they love is just how tiny and cute and quaint things are in Europe. The tiny little streets, the tiny little buildings, those A-frame houses are Tudor style. Whoa. Oh, it's so cute, it's so little, it's so dainty, it's so nice. And they have that, including the cars. And speaking of quaint and tiny things Americans love when they come to Europe, oh yes, they fawn over those tiny little European cars, like the Fiat 500.
That is amazing.
Like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen American tourists, including myself, when we see one of these, of like, I had to get a picture.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if I saw that in real life, I would have to stop and take a picture of it. That is something I would take a picture for. Not like take a picture with it, but I would take a picture of that little car. That's adorable.
It's so small. How do people fit in it? It's not just a smart car. It's just so many of them. And it is one of those things we just kind of go, oh, it's so cute. I just want to take it home with me in my pocket. And I think that actually would fit in a carry-on in the U.S. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, those tiny cars, not quite like the SUVs back home. Now, another thing Americans mention that they love is that they can go out at night and they don't really worry. I mean, going out in Europe, you just feel safer noon, night, whenever, when you're going out, and you don't have that looking over your shoulder so much. Yeah, there's pickpockets here, but it's a different vibe when you're in Europe than when you're in the U.S., and I think that's one thing Americans really like, is they do feel that they can relax on safety here versus someplace where they travel in the U.S. And when you're going around, and I kind of guess this goes along with the cop thing, is just how well dressed people are. Like, Americans will mention, like, man, those Europeans, they really know how to dress. And they really have style. And that's the thing, is it's style. Like,
I've noticed
the cut of their clothes fits better on their body, and how they hold themselves. It's just a different kind of thing that Americans will mention. And it's not just young people, it's old people as well. Like, you'll go around and there'll be like an 82-year-old man that looks better than you've ever looked. You're like, dang, dude, you got
wearing
some
like
style.
a three-piece suit.
And speaking of the old people, I mean, Americans are just always so happy when they see old people out and about. Like in the U.S., it's like we throw our old people into our elderly, into old folks home and forget about them. Whereas here, you see them more out and about. They're going and having a coffee with their friends in the afternoon. Like the old man.
All of our old people are still living in their $2 million homes that they refuse to sell. And they don't leave.
Drinking espresso in the afternoon, having a chat at the cafe. Nona is going out with her grandkids and kids for lunch at a restaurant. Like, it's much more a family integration. Like, people stick together with their families seem to be longer here, which is really kind of a cool thing. So you see the old people out more doing things. And it's crazy because when you think about all the steps and all the things they're going up and down, you're like, dang, they are in better shape when they're older than we are. Yeah, they are. And also when they're young or old, another thing Americans mention is just how many languages Europeans speak. Now, not all Europeans speak
so
20
crazy.
languages, but sometimes you might bump into...
Where were we at? Let me see if I can remember how many languages there were. Was there like 42 or 47? I'm not too sure.
Like a Finnish person who speaks Finnish, Swedish, English, German, Russian, and then like Spanish because they're going on holiday next week. Like, you have all these languages out there, and the fact that people switch. Because like in the U.S., I mean, people say Americans don't speak other languages. Actually, we do. Like, there's a lot of Spanish there, French, German, like Chinese. Like, we learn other languages. Like, I speak a number of languages. You know, I'm American. It happens. But the thing is, it's the switching between them that really impresses Americans. Like, I was talking to this guy, and he was like speaking Italian. Then he spoke to me in perfect English, but he had a German, like, other person he's helping with. He switched to German right away. It was so cool.
That's so nuts.
Like, we just kind of get fascinated with that. And because in the U.S., you don't really have the opportunity to speak other languages. Like, I was speaking to a Brazilian Spanish guy earlier today, and we were switching between Spanish and Portuguese and English, and it was so cool to get that, because I'm like, yeah, back home, I mean, the only time I get to practice Spanish when I go to a couple of restaurants. Otherwise, I don't have a lot of opportunities. My Portuguese, like, never,
this
right?
looks
And
so nice.
That's one thing that's cool about it. America's just like, oh my God, all the languages. You're so hot for all those languages. And you know what? I think that's why Jocelyn liked me, because I spoke all those languages. She's like, ooh, that's like that European sexy. Now, another thing Jocelyn loved about Europe, and that she wanted to make sure I mentioned for you, is how good the coffee is. Look, in the U.S., we have straight garbage
coffee. We definitely just saw some of the coffee. Can't wait to taste it, but go check my channel. I just did a coffee video. Was blown away. Really cool.
Coffee. It is what it is. Don't tell me Starbucks is great. It's burned, okay? And when you come to Europe,
Starbucks
you'll notice
sucks.
why people go to the cafes all the time, because the coffee's fantastic. If you have a little bica, a little espresso thing in Portugal, you're going to love it. Here, you get your Lavazza when you're here at a cafe here in Italy. You're going to love it. I mean, in Finland has fantastic coffee too. Like, you have great coffee all over. There's no reason to have
is some
a
crazy
styrofoam thing of
architecture.
coffee from a Starbucks
like
or
art,
Caribou
I
Coffee
guess.
or something like that, or you know, Costa Coffee, because there's so many good coffee places you can go to enjoy and have. So go to those and enjoy it, to have that cafe vibe. And I think that's another thing Americans love, the cafe vibe. We talk about it. We're like, yeah, I just sat and people watched. In the U.S., if you sit and people watch, they're going to call the cops on you. Or somebody's going to be like, hey, what you looking at? Whereas here, sitting back, having a coffee, or I do hot chocolate myself, you know, because I'm a tough guy. But you sit and enjoy just the ambiance of stuff. Whereas you don't necessarily do that in the U.S. You don't have the opportunity for it. And that's where you see a lot of memes that'll make a joke like eating outside in Europe, and it shows a fancy piazza, right? And they say eating out in the U.S., and you're like on the cement in the parking lot with the guy driving up in his truck. You're like, not quite the same. And that is kind of like the cafe culture, but also I think another thing that America's really mentioned is just the eating outside. Even when it gets to be cooler, you're still having the opportunity to eat outside
100%.
and enjoy being outside.
We have one, it's like a brewery in our town square that has a little bit of outdoor seating. It's like a bar, but there's just not enough. This goes back to the walkable streets that you guys have. With ours, there's a roundabout and then there's sidewalks, and the sidewalks are not big enough to put like a ton of tables out, unless of course you're in like a big city. But most Americans live in a small, a town or a little city, and there's just not much outdoor seating, at least where I'm at. I know there's some areas that have it more, but I would really enjoy that because we want to sit outside all the time, but there's like one place that we can go and do that.
Because people are outside so much more. You have all that walking because you are outside and everything's kind of integrated together. Everyone's more living in a city than in suburbs. So you have that like living in the city, indoor, outdoor, all the time kind of thing. And Americans just love that when they come here to Europe. And we're really trying to figure out how to do it in the US. And some places do a decent job at it. Most places we have a tough time figuring that part out, okay? But anyway, let's get back to another thing that Americans
in Florida, California, you might get it.
When Americans see like European things that are super expensive in the US, but they see it here and it's affordable, they're like, oh, I got to have that Chianti wine for so cheap. I got to have that Florentine steak and it was so cheap.
He keeps showing me this steak. I'm gonna freaking have a attack right now. I'm so hungry. I'm on this diet and that just looks amazing.
Compared to home, I remember when we lived in Portugal, our favorite wine was a Euro 70. Literally like a Euro 70 for that bottle of wine. They sell it in the US now and it's like $15. I'm like, what the heck? I love being in Portugal. I love having those prices. And sometimes that's one of the things Americans will mention are the prices. But then of course we mentioned the expensive of certain things like getting over here kind of prices. But in general, I mean, the U.S., a lot of times, we really find coming to Europe and traveling in Europe is cheaper than traveling in the U.S. because I love hotel prices in Europe because I can stay at a nice place for like 100 euros, and for the Hampton Inn, I'm paying 187 euros, and I'm not getting anywhere near the same experience. So that's something to mention. And I think the biggest thing Americans mention, they really are, I guess this isn't just like fawning over Europe, but also what they're jealous of Europe, is just the really fantastic like work-life balance that you have in Europe, where your job
100%.
Isn't your being. It's not the end-all be-all. Like, here is definitely the fact that people work in order to enjoy their life. Like, they work to live, but they don't live to work. It's not like the work is everything, and therefore you have this much more great balance of like life and enjoying your time with your family and stuff, versus the U.S. where we're always in the grind. Oh, I've got to get another side hustle. I got to get the hustle. I got to do something. And that's a difference in the culture. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, in the U.S. you do make a lot more money, so I got to lie about that. But
it's also more expensive. That's why we have to work so much. Everything's so damn expensive. Let's not even get started on healthcare.
there is a different vibe to it, and I think that's one of the things Americans just love about Europe. It's just really great work-life balance. Anyway, what are the things you love about coming to Europe? Let us know in the comments below. And yes, I know I'm saying Europe and it's a big continent kind of stuff, but I'm talking about in general. What are the things that are there? Because there could be things for different countries you've been to, because I've lived in like 7 different countries. Okay, so I know there's a lot of differences out there, and that's just in Europe, all right? So have a great time and let us know in the comments below, and I'll say bye from here in beautiful Florence, Italy, in Europe.
Great video. Great video. Guys, I'm itching to come do my trip. I told you once the new year started, I was going to start planning, and I am a little bit. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to do a live stream where I kind of just go through and like pop open different areas and try and like map some things out. It probably wouldn't be 100% set in stone, but I'll put a comment down below. Just give that a like if you want to see that. So other than that, I'm gonna get out of here. Appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.